Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe.
The Bullet Club are attempting to put on their own pay-per-view. We're going to look at what we want to see on the card for the announced show in September. Welcome to WrestleRamble. I am Oli Davis, and this is Luke Owen. So what do you think about the All In pay-per-view? Is that what it's going to be called?
Yes, I believe they're going with All In as the title. That was the tentative title they teased last year, but now they are doing it as like All In 2018.
Perhaps that's like we're still working on the slogan thing. We're familiar with it.
Well, yes, but that's what they've called the Twitter handle and everything. In all lowercase, with lots of underscores.
Justice League had that.
I know.
But the Justice League movie wasn't called All In. Maybe this is just the slogan. Maybe this is their ultimate thrill ride. Maybe this is their more all in than ever.
Well, let's find out. But it is the largest US-based attempt at a show anyway. If they successfully pull this off, I love this fact. If they successfully pull this off, if they manage to sell out a 10,000 seat arena, it will be the first time since WCW have done it.
Wow. Which is 2000, 2001.
They didn't do it in 2001. They did it. I don't even think they did it in 2000. I think it might have been 1999 that they managed it. And I don't think they managed to sell out 10,000 seats in 2000.
When they gave all the tickets to drunk people.
Well, no, but this is like selling out. This is like filling out 10,000 seats. So it will be the first time since WCW that someone has been able to do it. TNA couldn't do it when they had Hulk Hogan and Kurt Angle and Ric Flair and Sting and Rob Van Dam. But Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks believe that now is the time that they will be able to pull it off. Ring of Honor's biggest house, I think, is around like 3,500, 4,000.
4,000,
4,000, yeah.
Didn't TNA do about 7,000?
TNA did about 7,000, yeah. But that's not 10,000.
Not recently.
No,
that's not a recent number.
Oh, no, it's not. Again, that was when they had actual names.
It's weird because, like, when you say WCW, I always think in my mind that was 10 years ago. Because my mind counts back and forward from the year 2000, which is incorrect because there's been many years since then. Almost 2 decades since WCW folded.
Yeah, WCW...
That makes me feel a little bit grey in the hair.
Well, absolutely, yeah. Like, WWE obviously can pull off selling out a 10,000 seats arena because they do, I think, about like 30,000, maybe 15,000 for their pay-per-views and stuff like that. And their Raw shows, obviously. But this will be the first non-WWE organisation to, if they could pull it off. But you and I were kind of sort of discussing this briefly before we came in here. I'm not sure, because really, as Meltzer kind of pointed this out when they first started...
Negative Luke is here.
Not negative Luke, it's being realistic Luke. Meltzer pointed this out...
That's exactly what negative Luke would say.
Because this all stemmed from a Meltzer thing.
Yes.
Someone asked Meltzer on Twitter, would Ring of Honor be able to do a 10,000 seats show? And Dave said, no, because history has shown, no, they probably couldn't. And Cody kind of took that as a challenge. So it's not a Ring of Honor show, it's a Bullet Club show. You know, it's like an NWO branded event. It's the Bullet Club branded event. And this whole thing, but Dave was kind of saying on Wrestling Observer Radio when Cody announced that they were actually going ahead with this. It wasn't just a plan anymore. Dave said, if you don't have like a Daniel Bryan on the show or a CM Punk or someone like that, there aren't huge drawing names available in the Ring of Honor New Japan crowd. There are big names, but they're not 10,000 seat drawing names.
Yeah, this is because we were trying to... So what we'll do in a moment is come up with our dream top matches that we think can, which will make this a very decent pay-per-view.
A great pay-per-view. That's the thing as well. Like, I may sound like I'm being negative, but these names will put on an incredible show.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a great show, but there's been a great wrestling show where you just book your favourite wrestlers. That's different, I think, to making a show that will draw a lot of money and, to draw 10,000 fans. Because that requires, really, to get that amount of that kind of fan, non-WWE fan, you need people flying in. Mm-hmm. And are they going to fly in to watch guys that they can see on tours when they come to the UK, for instance, or when they go to Germany or Australia.
Or it's coming up with dream matches that you didn't think possible. Something
Like the Jericho Omega would be perfect.
That's exactly what I was about to say. Like Jericho Omega. No, sorry, step on my toes. It's fine. Like Jericho Omega is the perfect example of that. That is a dream match that you wouldn't have thought possible 6 months ago.
Yeah.
But New Japan put it on, and look what it did for New Japan. That brought in all these new subscribers into New Japan World. I've heard nothing but New Japan talk since last Thursday, since they did Wrestle Kingdom, and that's a great thing because that dream match created all that buzz and it created all that attention on that. Can the Bullet Club find their version of Alpha Omega?
They want to do like what do NXT takeovers usually do? Don't they do like 10 to 15,000?
Not anymore, they don't.
Not anymore, but yeah, in the glory days, and I guess that's where that sort of 2014, 2015 NXT fan base, which we were very much a part of, but then NXT kind of cooled off. A lot of people got called up.
Now they can't sell out arenas.
That fan base has gone towards watching Being the Elite on YouTube, watching the Wrestle Kingdom matches, Bullet Club, Kenny Omega, Cody Rhodes. So we're all, the amount of Bullet Club t-shirts. So you've got the drawing power of the Bullet Club, which has been a proven draw to Ring of Honor. I think they had their largest ever attended year in 2017, probably thanks to the Bullet Club's presence in Cody and the Young Bucks and Skrull. So you've got the Bullet Club's draw. You've got Ring of Honor's draw. I imagine they're going to have their roster behind it as well. Although when we were trying to come up with our dream cards, I was surprised by how few names on the Ring of Honor roster where I was like, oh, they could sell something out. Like, you got Jay Lethal and Christopher Daniels, really, people I love. And I love all the wrestlers in Ring of Honor, to be honest. But are they megastars that can draw 10,000 people? I didn't see any. Whereas, 5 years ago, Kevin Steen, El Generico, Adam Cole wasn't, it was, I guess, back then it was Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards. So those sorts of names, Daniel Bryan, Nigel McGuinness, conceivably they could. But Ring of Honor's big names at the moment are the big names you've already got in the Bullet Club. And then the other side of that dimension is the New Japan names. They also have a connection to as well. Yeah, the New Japan names are there. But they're going to be running a show in March and maybe in July as well for the Long Beach G1 show, I think.
Yeah, the Long Beach show's in March because that's when they're doing Jericho Naito.
Reportedly. But maybe they'll do another one over the summer if it goes well. So it's like the Japanese stars coming over. They come over a lot for Ring of Honor as well, a couple of times a year. Are they going to be a big enough draw? So yeah, what is...
But again, and I hate to labour this point as well, but it's not just these guys being the draw, it's the matches themselves.
Yeah.
Because like New Japan guys coming across, like that seems like a big thing, but if it's like Suzuki versus someone you've already seen Suzuki face off against, then that's not... as great of a match that is that a drawing that's going to bring in 10,000 people flying overseas? You are absolutely 100% right. It's all going to be people flying in. It's that WrestleMania thing.
Yeah.
It's people travelling to this as an event, travelling all across the States, people flying in from the UK and Europe, people flying from all over the world to come in like they do for WrestleMania.
So we're not being down on the 10,000 name. I admire Cody and the
so
Young Bucks
so much.
Like, gotta love a dreamer.
Oh yeah, and he's the American Nightmare, but he's also a dreamer.
And a critic said to him, no, they can't sell out 10,000 seats, which is based in logic, but it's not outside the realms of possibility.
Nope.
And Cody's been like, you know what? That's my next goal.
And if he can pull it off,
what a guy. Yeah.
And if he can pull it off, man, what an achievement that will be. To be the first non-WWE organisation to draw 10,000 people to an arena. That would be such an achievement. And I would love for Cody to be able to prove Dave wrong. I just think that would be an amazing thing.
Yeah, screw you, Dave Meltzer. We really respect you. So we are definitely rooting for this show. We're just trying to give... opinions based in rationale.
You've got to be realistic about it.
So, but there are two names that would sort of throw away all of that rationale, and then all of a sudden you're like, maybe you should book a bigger building. And that is Daniel Bryan, whose contract is up on the 28th of September. Or nearabouts, we can't really... But it's around September, October.
Bryan said in a tweet last June... Because I just checked this before we came in, because you instantly put down Daniel Bryan, and I was like, well, he can't make the show. And then that kind of took the wind out of your sails a little bit.
Yeah,
Because you thought that he would be able to. The show, the Bullet Club show is taking place on September 1st. And according to Daniel Bryan, his contract ends on the 28th of September. So 27 days later. Which is a real shame.
Or maybe it doesn't.
Maybe it
Brian's,
He's kayfabing it.
Maybe he already knew, but that was back in June before this even happened. Who knows? Because Jericho could just turn up here, probably, and beat one of us up.
Just going to give one of us a code breaker.
Yeah.
Probably me.
Yeah, but hopefully you. I'll team with him after that.
Yeah?
The anti-Luke brigade.
Former best friends turning.
So Daniel Bryan's one of them, but it seems like that might not happen based on the scheduling, and that was the most confident big name draw I had confidence in. The other name, and have they announced the location yet?
No, they have not. They're going to announce it in an episode of Being the Elite in the upcoming weeks.
Right. So they mentioned a few places. Ireland, I think, was one. London was another. Somewhere else in America, California, and Chicago. Now,
if I was a betting man, I would say it's Chicago.
Brilliant wrestling city, very die-hard wrestling fans there. I mean, as we know from Money in the Bank 2011. I mean, God, would you even need the worldwide audience flying in if you just said to Chicago, CM Punk's coming back at this show?
Well, so that is it. If you can get a CM Punk wrestling return, CM Punk's first wrestling match since 2014. It doesn't really matter who it's... I imagine if you announced it was like Punk versus Okada. Like, even if you just had a CM Punk appearance or whatever, CM Punk for the first time stepping inside a wrestling ring, that could be that's a draw. That's an incredible draw that people would fly all over the world, from all over the world to see.
Well, you wouldn't even need that. I think there'll be enough people in Chicago to go, it would certainly help their chances.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that Chicago is their... I mean, I'm hoping it's Chicago anyway, because I think, as you're right, it's a really great wrestling city. I think that's their best chance they've got. And yeah, if they can get Punk... And Punk is, the Young Bucks have said that Punk had told them that if he was going to make a return to wrestling, they would be the first people he'd call, because they've got a very good relationship. So I can almost see Matt and Nick Jackson on the phone to Punk being like, come on, man. Like, come on, man. Not only because, look at this from Punk's point of view. He's done with wrestling. He's not interested in wrestling. But as a way to be like, hey, man, this is kind of not sticking it to WWE, but just showing that independent wrestling is alive and well and it's thriving and we can still have this 10th. You can be a part of history, blah, 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 blah. Maybe, even if, maybe I'm starting to fancy book things a little bit too much here or start clutching at straws perhaps. What if you strike up a deal with UFC and hold Punk's next UFC fight at the Bullet Club show? So then it's Punk not doing a wrestling event. It's Punk's next UFC fight is at this Bullet Club show.
That is a very interesting thing. I mean, logistically,
it's a nightmare. But
I'm thinking rings.
Well, yeah, I mean,
because
essentially that takes away a lot of your floor seats, which means then you're not selling out 10,000.
But yeah, I mean that's an amazing concept, I suppose. But anyway, yeah, Punk would be the difference maker, and it is like you said. Do you want to stick it to WWE? It's down your road with your mates. It's a wrestling show run by all of your mates.
You just get to hang out with friends, and
yeah. Well, that would be quite something. So we have come up with a few top matches that we, just looking at all the talent available, these were the best ones we can come up with. And I mean, maybe it's just me lacking the booking brilliance of people who do this professionally, but I don't think my card is enough to sell 10,000 tickets.
I don't think mine is either.
Yeah, because we're lacking that. So originally I wrote down Daniel Bryan versus Cody Rhodes for the Ring of Honor title, with Bryan going over.
Yeah,
and this is Bryan's first match after leaving WWE, but yeah, that's probably not going to happen.
No, and I think you and I have kind of gone for the similar thing, really, which is it's the payoff to this kind of build that they've been doing for a while, which is the implosion of the Bullet Club, which would be Cody Rhodes versus Kenny Omega, which I feel like that's a main event that they could put on. It's a main event that people really want to see. is it a main event people want to fly all over the world to see? But I think it is a main event that people want to see.
It's because what I've done with my card. Shall I just run through my card and
Yeah.
I'll walk you through? So just imagine in the background the Bullet Club storyline that was set up at New Year's Dash, and that is there's sort of this rift between Cody and Kenny Omega, and that has been really since Dominion last year when Cody went to throw the towel in the Okada and Omega 2. So it's the payoff to that. So you've got at the top the Bullet Club split, ironically for a show called All In. It's a show about a Bullet Club split, and you've got Rhodes versus Omega at the top of the card. And that's your big Bullet Club leadership blow-off. But down the card, a little bit lower, you've got the other split. So I'm thinking the Young Bucks side with Omega because they're being the elite. But Marty Scurll sides with Cody Rhodes. Mm-hmm. And who's gonna team with Marty against the Young Bucks? Hey, Zack Sabre Jr., what you doing, pal? I know he's in Suzuki Gun at the moment, Suzuki Goon at the moment, but yeah, if Zack Sabre Jr. and Marty Scurll were a fantastic tag team for ages in the UK as leaders of the new school. Awful name, but great tag team, and one of my favourites. And yeah, those two work so well together as a tag team. I believe are they doing that act in PWG right now? So they're doing it currently almost. Them versus the Young Bucks would be mouth-watering stuff. So that was my Bullet Club storyline through the show, but I've also got as a special attraction match if Chris Jericho's still out and about and he's friends with Omega, so maybe this could work. Chris Jericho versus Will Ospreay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean that to me I think is a great match, and one that I nearly put down and then changed my mind.
But again, I don't think that as great as Will is, and he's fantastic, one of the best wrestlers in the world. Is it a name that's going to draw? Chris Jericho is a name that could draw there, so that the interest could come from that. And I've also written down here a CM Punk promo. I don't think he's going to wrestle again for a long time. But would he come into the ring, host the show, The Rock at WrestleMania 27 style? Mm-hmm. Could do. So you build it around Punk. Punk does a promo, endorses everyone, maybe gets physical but doesn't take a bump. That's what I would do as the sort of top of my card.
I'm thinking about your Chris Jericho versus Will Ospreay thing, and I think that you kind of said, is Will Ospreay a draw? And what I would kind of counter to that is that Jericho is a draw.
Yeah.
And I think that Jericho going against someone like a Will Ospreay, who has so much buzz and attention around him, I think that could actually make then that match a draw, because you have a guy who claims to be the best of all time, the best in the world, against a guy who is arguably amongst the best in the world, and everyone really loves Will Ospreay. Everyone thinks that he's absolutely fantastic. So actually, those two colliding could make that match a draw.
It's really tricky, this, because I'm stuck between two. It's like I'm being pulled apart by two sides, and that is wanting to book like a storyline based characters and really cool dream matches, but also and appealing to the smart audience, or do you appeal to the mainstream and try and shift all those seats? In which case, if you wanted to appeal to the mainstream and you just ex-WWE superstar Chris Jericho on the poster, it's got to be Jericho versus Rhodes in the main event.
Yeah, but Jericho versus Rhodes is a match that, I can't tell you a single match that they've had, but I'm almost certain they've had a lot of matches in WWE.
Most definitely, probably, but the way you get in the mainstream crowd is you slap as seen on TV on the poster and you do it that way.
Yeah, so maybe I suppose. Which is kind of leads me on to mine. So I was actually looking at, as well at Cody versus Omega as, the implosion of the Bullet Club. But if you weren't going to do that, another option I possibly did do was doing Omega versus Okada. On the sole basis of if you're appealing to that hardcore crowd of just being like, it's the last time these two will have this match. It's on American soil. It's it's a almost, you bill it as like it's a once in a lifetime opportunity sort of thing. Like Rock Cena 1. Like it doesn't have to be, because we had Rock Cena 2 the following year. And we've had Okada versus Omega. We've had it around the world. But if you kind of sort of bill it as like this is the last time it's going to happen on American soil, will that be like the drawing factor? Will that kind of bring a crowd in? Maybe. And then, like you, I was kind of sort of struggling with things, but I've thought of a match. If this is in Chicago, Detroit. Is that Detroit?
Oh, no, Michigan.
Michigan, isn't it?
Yeah.
Damn it.
This falls apart.
This falls
Although
apart,
it'll be a
hell of a match. I put the Bucks versus the Motor City Machine Guns, which tells you my American geography.
They're right there.
Oh, of course they are, yeah.
Chicago's
sorry. Detroit,
somewhere
Michigan,
else.
Chicago,
There's
Illinois.
Detroit.
Damn. Sorry, I was miles off there. I was thinking Motor City Machine Guns. I was like, Kevin Nash as well. They're close with CM Punk. And then I was like, well, hang about. No. That's completely the wrong state. I've gone completely well off there. However, Bucks versus Motor City Machine Guns would be a hell of a match.
Would really, really love the Motor City.
But again,
Machine Guns.
is it a draw? Because they've had that match plenty of times
in Ring of Honor.
In Ring of Honor recently. And then Chris Jericho versus Marty Scurll. Again, just because I think that would be an absolutely incredible match. But that is a match, again, that is appealing to your hardcore fan base as opposed to your mainstream.
I think, but just Jericho's name there will.
Yeah.
We'll open it up. And you've got one more. You're not going to say that.
I mean, again, you and I talked about this, didn't we? We were talking about like names that we would like to see on the show. And a wrestler that you and I are both massive fans of is Keith Lee. And I was like, Keith, as soon as I said you could build any dream match, I was like, Keith Lee.
Yep, same with me. But then I thought, wait,
yeah, Keith,
is the interest there for if you want to sell 10,000 tickets?
Keith, yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, I said you could book Keith Lee versus Ishii, the match that you and I saw at Rev Pro Global Wars Night 1 last year, which was far and away one of my favourite matches of the year, which was just absolutely mind-blowing. And I said that could be Keith Lee's Guerrero Malenko. It's that match that you two just tour around the world and you just get paid the mega bucks to go and do that match around the world. And I would put that on this card.
We've got some crap gimmicks!
Hey!
Yay! Let's see if we can sign any of these intriguing prospects to the crap gimmick roster. If you're new to the crap gimmicks, this is where you, the viewers, submit awful wrestling character ideas, and we go through them and see if they're bad enough. We're not looking for good ones, we're looking for the worst ones. So first up...
Creatively worst.
I'm Not Finished With You. That's their name.
This was a YouTube submission.
YouTube names are a bit wacky usually. The wrestler is named Division. His entrance music is Blood on the Dance Floor's Where's My Wonderland, a song I'm not familiar with.
I'm not either, but all I hear in my head is Murder
on the Dance Floor.
Murder on the Dance Floor, yeah. Would you better not kill the groove? Hey, hey. Gonna burn that goddamn house right now. That's the one, yeah. With, what's her face?
Sophie Ellis Bextor.
Thank you. I was going to say the Blue Peter girl, because her mum was a Blue Peter presenter.
Really?
Yeah.
Robbie Williams.
She looks like a cat.
Well, Robbie Williams once described her as a rhombus head. She's got a very uniquely shaped head. Beautiful woman, though,
Yeah,
but not to Robbie Williams' taste.
No, apparently not.
His gimmick is simply he has a split personality. One of his personalities is an amazing wrestler. The other is a cowardly wimp who runs away for most of the match. Wrestlers are never sure what personality they are facing and thus are unsure how to approach the fight. Adding to the fact is which wrestling personality will he be at the Royal Rumble, which character is part of the Survivor Series team who will show up at WrestleMania. So that's Division for you. What do you think?
I like it.
I do like it. I don't think there's enough there. Like, there's not a...
No, I disagree. I think there's something there that you can develop, put into some interesting storylines. I couldn't pick a feud for him right off the bat within the current roster that you have, or rather we have. But I think there's enough in there. There's a foundation that you can build upon there.
I like the idea from a storytelling perspective that we don't know which one we're going to get, but we've kind of got that with the Beastmaster. We've got we don't want to. And where the Beastmaster has, which one's going to turn up. Is it an eagle? Is it a bear? Or whatever other animals he has under his control. He's got 5 different things there. That's cool. There's loads to sink your teeth into.
Literally.
This guy is just, will he be good or will he be bad?
I don't know. I could go for it.
Yeah, but Beastmaster is a top tier main eventer, unlike the Fishmonger.
Can't even get his name right.
So personally, no. I'm not into Division. But do you want to...
I'd sign him to my roster.
You put him on a developmental.
Oh, yeah, developmental,
But this is a shared roster. Are you going to...
I thought we were doing a brand split.
No, when was that? That's not for another few years.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I'd sign him up for developmental.
I'm not... If we do a brand split and there's an invasion... I'm not scared of this guy.
Well, I mean, if we get...
well, it depends,
if there is a brand split invasion, mate, I'm leading with the Fishmonger. I'm going to crowd on my side.
Oh, what? Beastmaster. WrestleBot 3000 will destroy him.
Who's saying you're getting WrestleBot?
he's my first draft pick. And Emil
Beastmaster's mine, because you're never going to pick the fishmonger.
And then next up we have the mayor of Painesville, who is a
okay, so I'm going to slightly correct you there, because I was talking over you quite rudely and just did again. This is not from the mayor of Painesville.
Oh, isn't it?
No, this is from Emil Thompson.
It's probably a good... If it's not from Dan, then it's probably great.
This is not a suggestion from Patreon backer, the mayor of Painesville, Dan. This is from a YouTuber, Emil Thompson.
For a brief bit of context, mayor of Painesville, Dan Scheitmayer, has submitted many crap gimmicks. All of them are rubbish.
Let's be fair to him. We've never signed any of his gimmicks. So Emil Thompson has suggested a crap gimmick called the Mayor of Painesville, a Paul Heyman type manager. But instead of a strong wrestler like Brock Lesnar, he just has a new jobber every week. Basically, a manager for all the jobbers. This is great.
So initially when you told me what it was, I thought, well, no, because it's the Mayor of Painesville's. That is Dan. But now I know it isn't Dan who submitted it. I'm signing it right away. I think this is a great... It'd be so funny. He comes out every week, does the whole Paul Heyman building up his jobber, and then the jobber gets squashed in under a minute.
Yeah.
And he has to go back, and he just comes back, and here's the reigning defending, whatever.
I love it.
The star ratings, the official ones, not this guy, the official ones. Like Dave Meltzer is the official wrestling... I guess he is.
I guess he is, yeah. He's the one who popularised the star rating system for wrestling.
And he is the most respectable wrestling journalist in wrestling journalism.
Yes.
My opinion.
To some people, not everyone, there are a lot of people, particularly we get in our comments, who are who do not like Dave Meltzer. No. And Bruce Pritchard would have you believe on his show that he's not a fan, but secretly they're friends.
No.
You don't see that picture from last year?
No.
There's a picture of Bruce Pritchard and Dave Meltzer watching a show together, and there was like pictures of them like arms around each other like buddy. And everyone was like, breaking kayfabe, guys.
Honestly. So... Yeah, you don't have to like his opinion. You can disagree with his opinion, but I think you should respect his opinion because he has been reporting on wrestling for, almost 40 years.
This is a man who I would probably argue hasn't watched any film unless it was a wrestling-based film, because he just spends his whole time watching wrestling.
Doesn't have time.
He doesn't have time to watch anything else because he watches... And, he doesn't just watch WWE, Ring of Honor, New Japan. He literally watches every bit of wrestling from around the world.
He probably hasn't even seen Thor Ragnarok yet. That's how far behind he is. So, we haven't seen the star ratings. The Wrestling Observer newsletter came out shortly before we started recording this. The best match, this is the poll for Wrestling Observer subscribers, was won by Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho by quite some way.
Yeah, I'm unsurprised by that.
Next up was Okada and Naito.
Yep.
But they were 200 votes behind.
And well behind that was the four-way, which might be my favourite match.
And the worst match was the gauntlet match, the tag team gauntlet match, or the six-man gauntlet match, and the Rumble behind that.
Yeah.
So let's get into the actual star ratings. That's New Year's Dash. My apologies.
So scroll down.
You're going to have to talk for a bit.
Well, the reason why...
These are so long, these newsletters.
The reason why...
Just search for an asterisk.
The reason why we wanted to do this is because when we did our Wrestle Kingdom WrestleRamble review, the Wrestle Kingdom Ramble, Ollie Davis was giving star ratings. He was trying to be the new Dave Meltzer.
I was big-headed enough to try something new.
You thought, it's January. It's the first week of January. I'm going to try something new here. I'm going to try and start doing some star ratings.
Yeah.
How did it work out for you?
Well, a lot of people actually quite enjoyed it in the comments. They said, don't worry about it, Ollie. You can give ratings if you like. Which was nice.
But we thought it'd be funny, or, quite, entertaining, to compare your star ratings with Mr. Meltzer's. So, have you got your star ratings available?
I do. I have them to hand. So, the main show, I didn't watch the Rumble, which got a 1.5 stars from Meltzer, was the Young Bucks versus Roppongi 3K.
Show and yo.
Did you see the rating?
I haven't seen the rating.
So
no.
I gave that 4.5 stars.
Yeah.
Meltzer gave it
4 stars.
4 stars.
He loves the Young Bucks, does Dave Meltzer?
Yeah, but not as much as I do. Then the tag gauntlet match, what was voted as the worst match on the show.
You gave 2.5 stars.
I gave 2.5. Meltzer also gave
2.5 stars. Craig.
Snap Meltzer.
Well, here's the thing. A lot of people take the mick out of Dave Meltzer because, like that match at a WWE show would have got like 1.5 stars, maybe a star, but you put it at the Tokyo Dome, that adds an extra star to it.
So this actually, what he's done is because it was a gauntlet match,
Oh.
he's rated each bit of the gauntlet match individually. So actually, okay, so the first bit of the gauntlet match he gave 2.5, then 3/4 of a star, because that only went like 40 seconds, then 1.5 stars, and the last bit was 2 stars and 3/4. So it probably all works out as about 2 stars.
2 stars, yeah.
For that. Now, Ibushi and Cody Rhodes, a match that
I loved.
Yeah, I gave 3.5.
Yeah.
What's Dave given it? 4.25.
4.25. Crikey.
4.25 stars. Cody and Ibushi. It's difficult to say. Back to back.
That's good. Very well done to them.
Now the Sanada and Evil Archer and David Boy Smith.
Now I know that Meltzer loved this match because in his Wrestling Observer Radio review he thought it was just absolutely brilliant, and you gave it 2.5 stars.
I think he's given it 3.5.
Four.
Given it 4 stars. Whoa.
Wow.
Big discrepancy there. I was quite bored in that match. Maybe I should go back and watch it. Then Hiroki Goto beating Minoru Suzuki.
I wonder if he will penalise this match because because of the essentially Goto passed out in the match, and the referee probably should have called the match off.
But I loved the post-match angle, which was where Suzuki. It was a hair versus hair match, and when Suzuki lost, his goons took him off. But he was like, no, I'm an honourable villain. And he went back in and he shaved his own head. It was brilliant. I gave that 4 stars.
And now he looks even scarier.
Yeah. I gave that 4 stars. I loved it. I loved that match. Scrolling down. 4.5 stars.
Whoa! I am shocked it's that high.
Meltzer likes some stiff strike exchanges.
Again, it was in the Tokyo Dome.
Okay, so the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title 4-way, which was your favourite match on the card.
Favourite match of the night.
Kushida versus Hiromu Takahashi versus Will Ospreay versus Marty Scurll. I gave 4.25. As if this is an actual segment. I
wonder if this will actually make the final edit.
Did you hear Omega talking about this match with Jericho? And he says, because there was a spot that they were going to do in their match that they saw this match do.
It was like, Will Ospreay jumping off the lighting rig.
Moonsault, yeah. And he was like, oh, well, we can't do that now. And Omega said something like, well, that's what happens when you go 20 minutes over time and try and do every move in the history of professional wrestling.
I think he said, trust the juniors to steal your spot.
Yeah. So I gave this 4.25 and 4.75. That is a smidgen off of 5.
It certainly is. That's nearly a 5, nearly a perfect match in Dave Meltzer's eyes.
So he's definitely given the top 2 matches at least 5 stars.
Maybe you're right.
Tanahashi versus Jay White.
I don't think he will, because he didn't think that the top 3 matches on this card were as great as the top 3 matches of the last 3 or 4 years.
That's what he said immediately after, but maybe it's festered within his amazing wrestling brain. I gave Tanahashi versus Jay White 3 stars.
A match that you said in your review wasn't all that good, and you still gave 3 stars.
I said it was fine.
Yeah, exactly.
3 stars is just above average.
Okay.
And
that's not how you rate films. That is absolutely not how you rate films.
It changes. So Meltzer gave this 3.25. Oh, we were
3 3/4.
3 3/4.
But just below 4 stars. That's generous, Dave.
But apparently it was really good if you go back and rewatch it without all the other matches to compare it to. So here we go, the co-main event, Omega versus Jericho. I gave 4.5, which probably should be a bit higher actually, but I'm sticking with that. And he gave it 5 stars. 5 stars.
There it is
for Omega versus Jericho. And then the actual main event, Okada versus Naito. Wait, what did I give? This was my favourite match of the night. I gave it 4.75. 4.5.
Wow. Well, look at that.
It could be 5.5. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 4.5.
Yeah, no star breaking systems here being broken here.
Wow. Well, I didn't give... I was going to continue, and I was sort of looking on Raw and SmackDown this week, saying, is there anything I could rate with some stars? Where's the stars? and there were no matches good enough. That's all we've got time for today, so please click the videos that have just appeared on our laps to catch up with the latest WrestleTalk news or WrestleRamble, and subscribe to WrestleTalk on YouTube. This has been Luke Owen, I've been Ollie Davis, and that was Rambling.